All right. Hey guys, we're having some technical difficulties with Twitch. It keeps disconnecting our stream, but we're just gonna start over, try again. So topic for this Talking Goats is the new goat format meta. I am here with Mascus.
Hello again.
And the first topic that we're going to discuss specifically in regards to this meta is out of these, top 9 decks here. These are the most popular decks, not necessarily the best decks, but out of these, other than these 9 popular decks, Mascus, what do you think the best sort of non-meta GOAT format deck is?
I mean, like I was saying before, I think that Gravekeepers are in a good spot. I feel like that there's still a lot of chaos representation within the meta, like on the ladder as well. And I think that just by having access to a card like Necro Valley, just like to shut off your opponent's graveyard, and like Royal Tribute as well, I think that card's really good. If you can activate the Royal Tribute against the Chaos player and get them down to sometimes 0 cards, like it's excellent for you. I think they're in a good spot as well. I think all like Spear Soldier versus Goat tokens is still pretty good. Even Assailant versus Goat tokens is pretty good. And Gravekeeper Spy is just like a stellar card.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that Gravekeeper Spy is a stellar card. Royal Tribute can be good, depending on how many, monsters your opponent's deck plays. I mean, also Skill Drain is a card that some Gravekeeper players have been using since, even though, like, it does shut off your Gravekeeper monster's effects, normally it, hurts your opponent more than it hurts you.
Yeah, you can, like, establish your board presence first with your Spy Flip, and then use your Skill Drain to shut up whatever they're doing.
Like, I personally think that one of the big advantages to Gravekeepers actually is it does well against a lot of the combo decks, even though, like, there weren't too many combo decks, like, in our last tournament. Like, Necro Valley stops Shallow Grave, which is, like, Empty Jar's key combo card. Mm-hmm. And, like, against Reasoning Gate combo, the Necro Valley stops, any of their Chaos monsters, because that's how they... that's how that deck works. You gotta banish your monsters and then activate Dimension Fusion.
Right.
And then, against, like, Library FTK, and I guess also Empty Jar, it stops spell reproduction. But actually... So I was going to say that I think the best non-meta deck is Library FTK, just because, well, I mean, it doesn't have a lot of obvious weaknesses, right? You just kill people on turn 1. It's kind of hard to, argue that it's not a good option.
Unless, like, you take it in and it's just like, okay, I mean, I'm not the best pilot with it, I'll have to admit, but I seem to just, like, play this deck and just, like, don't draw, like, insane at all, or... somehow, like, I try to combo off and it's just like I'm dead here because, like, I either just miss at a certain point or I just mess up the combo in some way. So I bet, like, an experienced pilot would have a better win rate than I do against, like, with the deck, but I think it's just garbage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I've done pretty well with the deck, and not that, like, I've never lost any matches with it. I have lost matches, and obviously, like, those matches that you lose are normally just like, oh, you draw unlucky hands a couple of times. And then, okay, I guess I lost. But for me, it's like, obviously, if you're playing to win, the goal is to win as many matches as possible. Whether you lost a match because, I got unlucky, or I played incorrectly, or I messed up the late game, whatever, like, it doesn't matter how you lost, right? All that matters is the number of wins that you get versus the number of losses that you get. And I think Library FTK will give really anyone who bothers to sort of, like, learn the basic things behind the deck, like, a pretty good ratio of wins to losses. Like, I would bet that anyone who would play Library FTK on our server would not have a win ratio of less than 50%.
Maybe it's just me then. Maybe it's just that I'm incompetent with what I need to do to be winning with the deck.
Sure, do you just, like, brick a lot or something?
I could just be bricking a lot. Like,
yeah.
It could just be that. I'd probably just, like, summon, like, my library and then, like, attempt to go off when I look at the hand and I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'll look at my hand and I'll be like, I don't know how to, like, get, like, from point A to point B. Like, if I don't know if I should, like, pass here, because I always feel like I'm under this kind of pressure that I have to combo as fast as I can. That's just me though. Maybe
Yeah,
again,
I
I'm
mean,
looking at the deck the
you
wrong
definitely
way.
have to know how to win the games where you don't FTK, and that can be kind of tricky. But
Yeah.
Vert's in chat, he claims that the best non-meta deck is, maybe you agree with this, is the Dark Magician of Chaos launch loop deck.
Well,
So
I mean,
so what do you think about that?
as someone who has had success with the Dark Magician of Chaos launch deck, I mean, I think it is pretty good. Um, I like the fact that it is a deck that plays like Reasoning and Monster Gate, and that people don't really like call the right numbers with it, and that you can sideboard and get tricky with it as well, where you can actually side out your combo.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Is actually like a deck that people know how to play against, but is something that like kind of messes up in their head. I mean, at this point, I feel like most good players should always be calling 8 when they see just a Reasoning just out of blue. But
Yeah.
with how I build my deck, it's something that it's like, okay, you call 8, but I'll still probably like a third of the time I'm gonna be able to hit what I need to hit, and like or hit a monster that will actually get me into the monster that I need, which is Demock for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been advocating calling 8 for a while, and people just don't listen, which is why when I play the Reason Gate deck, I just play the creator, because, like, no one ever calls 8, right? Like, you might as well just play more 8s if they're never going to call it, so...
Right.
So, yeah, so sort of segueing into the second topic that I wanted to talk about in regards to, like the GOAT format meta is, so, if you have the tier list pulled up, Mascus, obviously we created this tier list about 6 months ago, and remember,
Yeah.
this is by popularity, not by like how good you think the deck is. So how do you think popularity shifted around? Because I would actually argue now that Gravekeepers should probably be somewhere on this tier list. Like, I would say that Gravekeepers, for example, are like just as popular as like Flip Control, Burn, Chaos Recruiter, if not more popular, right? Because
I don't think that anybody is playing Empty Jar or Flip Control like as more than they're playing um, Chaos Recruiter, right? I think that like more people are. I think Chaos Recruiter actually moved up in popularity. So did Gravekeepers. I think just standard like Chaos Control decks actually like moved down. I think more people are on the Thunder Dragons if they're any kind of Chaos Control deck. And I think like anti-meta is ahead of the other Chaos decks that aren't Thunder Dragon Chaos.
So here on the stream now, I have the breakdown from the last tournament pulled up. So Chaos Control was 7% of the field. Empty Jar was 7% of the field, but so were Gravekeepers. There were 2 copies of Gravekeepers, 2 copies of Empty Jar, 2 copies of Chaos Control, only 1 copy of Burn, 0 copies of Flip Control, and 0 copies of Chaos Recruiter. So, Gravekeepers in the last tournament was actually tie for the 4th most popular deck.
Mm-hmm.
There are just as many Gravekeepers as there were Reasoning Gate. I mean, obviously, it's only one tournament, and, like, it kind of depends, just from one tournament to the next. But...
And the top 8, it consisted of, what is this, I think it was 3 anti-meta warriors, right? 2 chaos decks, 1 goat control, and then Gravekeepers.
Well, so it was first place. I think there were like 3 goat control decks in the top 8. No, two goat
one.
control.
No, 2. Okay.
Because it was Swisky and Woa in 2nd and 4th respectively.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there were like 3 anti-meta-ish Warriors decks. There were like 2 Thunder Dragon Chaos, and Gravekeepers. And that was, that Gravekeeper deck did have Royal Tribute, like you were talking about before.
Yeah, I think Gravekeepers are in a sweet spot. I think that they have the ability to play like the deck that topped is something that I would want to like probably fine tune and look more into, because it has this ability where it can play just like you don't have to just play all Gravekeepers. You can play a small engine of something else.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing too when I play Gravekeepers. I usually don't play like, because like some Gravekeeper decks are just like 15 Gravekeeper monsters, and like just that's it for like their only monsters.
Yeah, I used to experiment with main deck Chiron the Mage, because Chiron is like one of the worst things that Gravekeepers sucks against, is that it like just can't beat the back row. Like if you have like Sakuretsu armors or something for it, it's just like it's not going to be able to get through. And what it wants to do is like establish board control and like rush you down, because really like it's able to get going by doing spies. So you can like have these royal tributes that like you activate maybe like once, and then if you like have an extra copy of it with Chiron, you can like turn your royal tribute into an MST, and that's pretty powerful sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Gravekeepers I think are definitely like a deck that like could be developed a lot more, because there's like a lot of different ways you can play it. Like in terms of like the aggro control spectrum, like some people just play like 3 spies, like 3 guards, and like 2 Tsukiyomis or something, and just kind of play that game. Others just like sort of go for like, yeah, I'm just gonna attack with a bunch of things. Other decks play like Mystic Tomatoes and like skill drains and stuff. So yeah, there's just like a lot of different ways to approach the deck. I think Gravekeepers are pretty viable, and like if we change this tier list in the future, I have the feeling that like Gravekeepers are gonna be on there.
Yeah, I still think that they're gonna be lower on the list. I don't think it's gonna be something that's always gonna be the most popular deck. I still think
Right.
that Go Control is probably always gonna be popular. It's the namesake of the format, and it's still just the deck to be. But I think that people need to start respecting the anti-meta warrior call, and
Yeah.
I mean, as much as people have already started respecting like Thunder Dragon and just Chaos decks in general, I think that's what the Go Control players need to adapt to next is warriors, because they just aren't doing
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. So given that in the last tournament, anti-meta warriors and Goat Control were tied for the most popular deck, do you think that that's like something that's gonna continue like forward in the long run, or do you think should like anti-meta warriors be bumped up to like this most played category, or do you think that was just kind of like a one tournament thing?
I would give it another tournament, and then we'll see what the results are. If it's again tied or even the most represented deck, I think it needs to be bumped up like in conjunction with the other two, so we get a
Right.
decks.
Yeah. You'd probably have like 10 top tier decks total, Gravekeepers being like the 10th edition. And then 3 perhaps in the most played. But yeah, I agree. I think we gotta wait for like one more tournament of like decent size. Obviously not like 10-person tournament, but
and
yeah,
it's possible. Like people like to look at what won like the last thing, and they'll try to either play that because it won the last thing, or try to beat it.
Yeah, I don't think like people like necessarily react in like logical ways. Like obviously the logical response to the last tournament would be, oh, anti-meta warriors did really well, I probably should prepare for that deck more. But like instead what will happen is people just be like, oh, anti-meta warriors did well, I should play that deck. Like
Right.
I mean to an extent like both should happen, but often I think people just kind of like blindly copy whatever did well in the last event rather than like trying to react to it. They're kind of perpetually like one step behind the curve.
And the version of anti-meta warriors that won the last deck or won the last tournament is the version like the Gearfried version, which I think is
that's
undervaluing, because they see like a card like Gearfried, they're like, oh, this doesn't like do anything, they have to like draw their smoke grenades for it to actually be good. But I think people just don't respect that it's a monster with stats that like you can't snatch steal, and that's pretty crazy.
I mean Gearfried is definitely like a pretty like reasonable card by itself. Like it's interesting, there was one of the matches that one of the feature matches, Spank the Monkey, where he goes Gearfried smoke grenade, sees that his opponent has snatch steal, doesn't take it, and then just only summons Gearfrieds for the rest of the game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because like, oh, I just know my opponent has snatch steal, I'm just only gonna play Gearfrieds. so yeah, I mean, I know like, I think Morp's list, sort of the stun oriented build, has been getting like more hype, which I'll show you guys here, because like, I mean, Morp is kind of like a not like by me, but like in general, he's probably a more like well-respected member of the community than Spank the Monkey is. So like when he says, "Oh, this deck is really good," like people are more inclined to like listen to him. Um, like again, I'm not saying that like I personally like have more respect for Warp. I'm just saying he's sort of he has more influence. That's probably a better word to use. So, and his deck list like also like looks a lot cleaner. It's just like a lot of 3-of. So I think when people look at his list, they can kind of like see what's going on more. Whereas I think Spank the Monkey's list is sort of a bit harder for people to understand. So I feel like maybe in the next tournament, like we could see Morp's list catch on a lot more with like the Tigers and the Kaikus and the Blade Knights.
Yeah, I could see that being a possibility. I personally am not a fan of this kind of list. Mainly because like I look at it and I understand that it's like he's just trying to be as redundant as possible, but I think one of the best features about Warriors is that it is a toolbox deck, and so that you can have multiple answers for multiple threats all the time. And this deck is just very like linear in that like I'm going to stun like these specific things.
Well,
and I'm trying to do it as consistent as possible.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because he only has 3 different reinforcement of the army targets, right? Just Blade Knight, DD Warrior Lady, and Exiled. But if you look at Spank the Monkey's list, it's like kind of the same thing. He only has Blade Knight, DD Warrior Lady, and Gearfried. He chooses. I mean, he has Exiled Force in the side, and obviously there's different things in the side for Morp too. Like he has the Mystic Swordsman.
Also, 6 targets for your reinforcements of the army compared to
5.
Compared to 5 makes a big difference to me.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It technically is less likely to be dead. I mean, it's pretty hard for even with 5 warriors for reinforcement of the army to ever be dead, because like that would just have to be a really unlucky draw, you know.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, I drew all my warriors, then like drew all my reinforcements to the army. But yeah, I mean, I think both these lists are good. You know, Verts in chat says, you know, maybe people are just gonna like start playing more decrees. I think it's pretty hard to main deck decree, but I'd expect to at least see more people siding it. Like I know Noelle, like in her reasoning gate list, doesn't side decree, and I think that's just probably a mistake.
Yeah. At this point, I think so. I think you could have maybe gotten away with it like a couple tournaments ago, but in this current state, I think you need to create.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I was gonna say, if you look at like TK Griff's list, he was only main decking 6 traps, then siding like 3 decrees. Like that doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. You know, something like that.
I think that you could. I think that some decks could even like go in and main decree. They could just play like a light trap package, like. I think 6 traps, one of them being decree, might be great, because then you could just like have your main deck decree to just if you go up against something like that on the ladder or at a tournament, you already have that main deck advantage, and then you can get your other 2 in.
Yeah, I mean, I know MMF has been doing like goat control with like 3 Air Knights, 3 decrees to I don't know, mixed results. I think he's playing 3 decrees. Maybe he's only playing 2.
I have a list that has a main deck decree in it, but I'm also trying to get the bird to work out, so we got that going as well.
What, Sacred Phoenix?
Sacred Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Verts points out that people might be like sleeping on Reasoning Gate, maybe that can make a comeback. It's interesting how like decks will sort of like fade in and out of popularity based on like very recent results. Like after Noelle like started tearing it up with Reasoning Gate, everyone's like, oh, I gotta play this deck. And then like she goes 0-2 in one tournament, and now everyone's just back to like, yeah, Reasoning Gate's unplayable. You know, people are.
I don't think, like, it's still really good. Like, it just can explode and kill you, and like people still mess up against it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I also think people need to like experiment with like different lists. Like, Noelle's list is definitely like good, but it's not like the end all be all. There's just like so many different like things you can do with the deck as far as like how you mix up your levels and like to what extent you like play sort of like a fast versus a slow versus a medium pace deck. People play like
Noelle's biggest innovation, right, was cutting out Air Knight for Thunder Dragon, because gets you the lights out of your deck, gets a light into the graveyard, and then
Right.
your reasoning gets better because it's actually getting a card that does something. And like there's not that much of a difference between getting like a random Thunder Dragon in your hand, like from your reasoning, than getting Air Knight, right? Because it's probably gonna get Mirror Forced or Sapwood anyway.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah.
like,
Yeah. I mean, I think more people are. It was I mean, it was one of those things for like for a while. A lot of people are playing Air Knight in their list because they're like, oh well, it's a level 5 and it's a light, so yeah, let's play Air Knight. But like the drawing a card effect like actually isn't that helpful because ideally you're just trying to kill them all in one turn, and
yeah,
it doesn't matter how much card advantage you have when your opponent's dead, right? I mean,
exactly.
you know,
There's cool lights that people don't play either. Like you were saying, the Creator earlier.
yeah,
There's what's that card? I think it's like Mystic Knight Jackal, something like that.
yeah.
where
I mean,
it's
Saint
like-
Joan's probably better, or not?
I like Saint Joan too. Yeah, just to be
No,
28.
I mean, Saint Joan's the name of the fusion monster. I'm thinking Guardian Angel Joan. Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
Because, like, it gains life points when it attacks, so, like, obviously that's pretty important in a deck that plays Dimension Fusion. So,
And just being 28, like, is pretty amazing, right?
yeah, it's 28, it's level 7, so they're, like, never going to call the reasoning right.
No.
And then gaining the life points can either, like, sort of buy you more time, because, like, now it takes longer for your opponent to kill you, or, like, let you activate a Dimension Fusion that maybe you couldn't before. But yeah, I think we kind of beaten this topic to death. So, before I, do an advertisement here, I'm gonna say people in chat for the third topic. Let us know what you want to talk about. Whatever it may be, anything you want, and then after we go over this ad, we'll talk about whatever people in chat came up with. So Mascus, let's talk about these new shirts. Have you seen these?
Talk about 'em. Yeah,
You've seen all of them. So yeah, we've so as you guys can see here, keep in mind, we just had a tournament in which we gave out $100 for free. We got to pay for that somehow, and people always saying, "Oh, we want more tournaments. We want more tournaments." Well, the more swag you buy, and the more you click on our ads. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to say that. Then the more tournaments we can run, right? Because it's about dollars in versus dollars out. So Mascus, do you have a favorite shirt among these three?
I'm gonna party like it's 2005.
All right, so let's check out this one. So yeah, this is a new one that I came up with. It's pretty cool. It's got the 4 different color goats, and they're all wearing party hats. And this shirt says, "goatformat.com. We're partying like it's 2005." I think that's a pretty cool one.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy this shirt. I'm gonna take it to my locals. I'm gonna get a Domino's pizza small, and
okay.
a Coke Zero, and I'm gonna flip some scapegoat. that was me in 2005. Go to locals, eating pizza, and flipping scapegoat.
All right, sweet. Yeah. Yeah, and Vert says, I spam clicked your ads, now give me tournament. Vert, what you should do is tell us what topic you want us to talk about for our last segment here. We will talk about whatever you want. So yeah, I mean, I personally,
You have the power.
I mean, my favorite shirt. Some people don't like this because they think it's a little aggressive, but I like. I'd rather be playing GOAT format. I actually have the shirt. I'll go and bring it.
I'm not sure what you mean by GOAT teams, Verts.
So yeah, this is the I'd rather be playing GOAT format shirt.
Ooh, fancy.
I
love the logo.
Yeah, it's good material, and I like it because like I think it kind of starts a conversation. You know what I mean? Like if someone sees you wearing that shirt, it's kind of like, well, wait, what's GOAT format? Why would he rather be playing it? It sort of gets them thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, the others, other people might not know what they mean. So this, like, I don't go to too many gaming tournaments these days, but if I did, I would definitely wear this shirt because I think people would ask me about it, and it would be like a good opportunity to explain to them,
We're going.
what GOAT format is.
we're going to a Melee tournament, and we're hoping Big Left notices us, and I'd rather be playing Go format shirt.
Oh yeah, I mean, the nice thing is if you wear it to a Melee tournament and ask what it is, you just tell them, "Oh, Goat format, it's the Melee of Yu-Gi-Oh!" And then people are just gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, that sounds awesome."
Let's play, baby.
Even though it's not necessarily the best comparison, it's a decent one and it gets them interested.
Let's get a documentary going.
Yeah, and I don't really, as far as like what our next segment is, I don't know what Verts means about GOAT teams either. Maybe he can explain in chat, you know, what that is. Because, you know, GOAT format, in my opinion, it's not like, I mean, TCGs in general just aren't really like a team sport. Oh yeah, I guess he's saying they help each other like borrow cards IRL and stuff. I mean, I guess that's good if you have like a good Go format scene. So let's sort of like take a little spin on that.
Yeah.
So how do you think we can make Go format more of a thing IRL? Because I know like Morp, he's trying to do that, but like at his locals he's firing like 6-person tournaments, right? Like that's not very big.
Right.
And it seems like other people, when they if and that's a big if they do have GOAT format tournaments IRL, it's usually like 6, 8, 10 people, 12 on a good day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, what about you, Mascus? Do you have any GOAT format tournaments near where you live?
We tried to fire up one. We actually got a lot of people to come down. Like Scully came down, and a couple of his friends from Connecticut. We had Carl and Jazz came down from New York, and then a couple of us here, like locals in Philly, got together a tournament. It was about, I think it was either just over 20 or just a little under 20 people, which I think was pretty good.
Yeah.
For a local, and it was a great time. It's playing Yu-Gi-Oh in real life and playing like a Yu-Gi-Oh format that you really love and care about is just always great. Just like I can't even compare it to how much more fun I have playing in real life and like, seeing like my opponent and reading their body language and stuff, than playing them online. I mean, online's great because I can get an opponent anytime, and it's really easy. And I love trying to ladder on the GOAT format ladder, of course, but just playing in real life is excellent. So I think that, though, to answer the question, to actually like get some like GOAT tournaments running again. Unfortunately, I don't think that it's a policy that like official Konami stores want to tip their toes into, because there's some stuff that they don't want to lose their like official Konami representation with if they run these GOAT tournaments. It's like as non-sanctioned events. I'm not really sure how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually told that now like Konami doesn't have any, like, they don't really have anything against running alternate format events, because like they kind of
cool.
do alternate format events themselves. I mean, obviously you can't sanction it, and like there's no nationals or anything. I mean, I know like I've had people say like, oh, we need to like figure out how to do like a GOAT format nationals, and to me like that's just like that kind of thing is years off. Like we're just so far from that. It's like, you know what I mean? I think people like sort of always want to like jump ahead to like, how do we do like the really big thing, when it's like, no, we really need to like start small and kind of just like, build up the community and do the sort of hard, boring, tedious kind of grassroots stuff. I mean, I'll just, like, for example, I'll play randoms on Dueling Book, not because I enjoy playing them, but just so like if we have like a good match, I'll say like, hey, join our Discord, check out the site or whatever. And like a lot of times people will. So like I think we need to do stuff like that.
Have you heard of Old School Magic: The Gathering?
No, I haven't.
So there's I'm not sure how big it is, but it feels like it's like the GOAT format version of Magic: The Gathering. It's a lot of people who are like, hey, let's play the format from like '93 and '94, like when Magic was first
sure,
starting. Yeah, and like there's like a guy, I think his name's Brian Weissman or something, who like came out and he's like, yeah, this is the deck, and he still has like the original cards that he played in '93, '94 when he was like winning all the tournaments and everything.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, and so like I think that like that is a huge help for something like that because there's some like when you have someone from the past who's like super knowledgeable about the format and is like has that cosign on it and is like, hey, like I'm
Yeah.
coming back and playing it. Like I don't know who it would be in for goat format. I'm sure there's plenty of people who could take up that mantle and be like, yeah, let's play goats. Like I remember like when I top aided I'm just gonna use J Kim as an example because we were recently talking
Yeah.
about him on Goat format. Like if J Kim came back to Yu-Gi-Oh and was like, I'm just gonna play Goat format again. I love GoatFormat.com. I think like that would upsurge some more interest in the format as well.
Yeah, I mean, Verts in chat said like Perovic, and that's obviously like an obvious name. I definitely think he benefited the community a lot when he played Goat format and was playing clean. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, don't even want to like get into that. But yeah, I mean, a lot
No
of the,
comments.
you know, obviously, Max Suffrage, he's probably like one of the biggest names. He passed away a couple of years ago. Rest in peace. So, unfortunately, he can't, be the one to rep the community. Perovic has kind of, gone into the shadows after his controversies. J Kim is, way too busy playing poker to give a shit about Go format. So, um, there's not a lot of great candidates. I mean, I think there may be like a couple of people online who were like kind of big names back then. Like, I mean, we got Dale Bolito. You know,
Lazaro.
yeah, both the Bolitos. I mean, that would definitely help. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to see them get involved because they have like a lot of influence and are really big names. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'll like try to talk to them and see, you know,
And
what we can do to
and it doesn't
make that
necessarily
happen.
have to be like someone who was big back then. It could be someone who like is bigger now or was bigger later and is coming back and is showing like, hey, I'm interested in like taking Goat format serious and something like that. Um,
Yeah.
like I don't know, maybe like Billy Brake for example. I don't know what he's up to, but I
Yeah,
don't
I
really
mean,
I don't really follow Kern anymore. So
I try to get, Jonathan Moore and House of Champs to kind of rep us. He did like one sort of short video that like briefly mentioned, hey, goatformat.com exists, and it really did help us out. Like that week that he did the video, our like traffic like went up like 150% or something like
yeah,
that. So, so yeah, I definitely think like having some sort of influencers to like rep the format would would really help, regardless who they are, right? Even if they're like people who like maybe aren't known for playing the format, but just have a lot of followers, like, you know what I'm saying? Just any of the big
right,
like YouTubers or whatever.
right.
Um,
I don't think it necessarily needs to be like again someone particularly from that era too, like from the 2005 era that was top in tournaments or whatever. But like another boost or something just to bring the communities together because
yeah,
it still kind of feels like it's this is our like the community that plays like Current and only really Current and cares about it and like they might dabble in goats but don't take it too seriously. Whereas there's a whole other community that is only taking goat format seriously because it's the format that they really care about. I think that if there's like more crossover between the two, the better for Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah. So just to wrap this up because we're around our half-hour mark. I'm gonna answer Person of Secret's question. He says, "What is the goal of getting more people running 8-man locals?" I mean, basically, our goal here, as far as like, why do we start GoFormat.com? Why does it even exist? Like, what's the point? Really, the whole point of doing this and getting more people is just to get the largest number of people playing Go format. That's it. Like I even though like I don't think Magic the Gathering is a perfect game, I like their philosophy towards running the game, which is our goal is to get the largest number of people playing the most games of Magic possible. That's it. That's like their entire vision. And for me, it's the same exact thing except replace Magic with Go format. Right? We
Yeah, I
want the
couldn't agree
most people
with you
playing the
more.
most games in Go format. Get people to realize that it's a good game that's worth playing, right?
Yep.
Because I just want to be able to when I retire in 15 years, in Bermuda or something, I want to say, hey, I've got all this extra time. I want to go play some Goat format because that's a game that still exists,
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's weird because like I still think I'm young and like consider myself like an old man at Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's just like this is the format that I started getting competitive with. Like I'm hoping that I can show people that like this is great. This is like the best game that I've ever played, and like I wanted to continue. I want like my kid to learn how to play Ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I actually wasn't. I mean, I played the game during GOAT format, but I wasn't any good. But once I like, sort of started playing, in the modern era, I was like, wow, this is like a really deep game. Like the fact that we're still talking about like how's the meta gonna evolve next? The format was 14 years ago, and like people are just still like discovering new stuff like all the time. Like it's insane. Like I've never seen like any TCG format that's like this deep. It's actually like pretty crazy. Other than maybe like some eras of like Legacy MTG. That's like the only thing that compares in terms of like sort of the depth of like the meta.
Yeah,
so
it's
yeah.
just like it's the best. I don't know what else to say.
And I also want to make it clear like most of the people who are playing now are people who like are super new, like have just started playing like in the last year, and like that's fine. Like yeah, there's a lot of people who like don't understand the rulings, don't maybe understand the strategy, but like that's a good thing, like because that means that there's more new people like playing the game.
Yeah,
right.
Having that resource from goatformat.com, like just the fact that I'm so thankful now that I could just type in goat format in Google and like instantly go to goatformat.com.
Yeah.
And there's everything I need to know about the format.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I think we're gonna sign off. Thanks for watching, guys. And like I said, I would encourage you to at least consider buying a shirt. It'll really help us, run more tournaments, fund more things, and bring GOAT format to more people. So it's a win-win. You get a cool shirt, and you help the, development of the format. All right, peace out.